Okay, so this is my attempt at installing the Archtype Racing stirrups for the 2021 Ford Bronco, and these clamp onto the rock sliders that come factory on the Badlands trim and some of the others. So pretty basic. You've got the actual stirrup itself, and then these clamps come in the packaging as well. 2 per stirrup, and you just need a few tools to do this. You don't drill, which was kind of, I was expecting to have to drill, but you don't drill. So you do need these hex head drivers. So you'll need a 5mm and a 6mm. It's going to help to have those on separate ratchets. I've kind of got improvised. Certainly didn't need a 1/2-inch drive, but had it handy, so here we go. And then it also definitely helps to have extensions on them so that you're not anywhere near the finish, so that you're not marring these up. And then for one of the bolts, you'll just need a 17mm wrench. Ratcheting is obviously going to make it a little bit easier. And then helps to have a tape measure, helps to have some blue painter's tape, just so that you're not having to try to maneuver the bracket and the tape measure at the same time, and you can kind of dial in where you want to be with it. So a couple things here. There are these flange brackets that mount the rock rail in place. You're going to want to avoid those. It's not going to be able to lock on in those locations. And the locations that are listed in the instructions work pretty well. So I just went 19.5 off the front of the rock rail, and then 16.5 off the rear of the rock rail. So, you know, they have you mount the half of the bracket on the stirrup. What I did was I actually kept the brackets assembled and just loosened them up a lot, and had some success with just being able to kind of, you know, push it over the rock rail without fully disassembling the clamps, and that just made it a little easier for me to get those installed. But I'm going to quickly put this together here. So all I did, these clamps come assembled. I've got this hardware here, and there's a washer, and so I'm just going to take this, thread the washer back on, and on the front position, you're going to basically put those on the 2 outside, and then on the rear, you're going to put them on the 2 front holes. There's 3, but you're never going to use all 3. It's always easier to thread when you're not on camera. And so all I'm doing for these is I'm just going to put them finger tight for the moment, and that's going to let me get this in position, and then, you know, re-snug everything once it's done. Okay, so I've got those kind of loosely installed on there, and I'm just going to go ahead right now before I try to hold this up, and I'm just going to loosen these M6 screws that go in on the bottom of the bracket. You just kind of see those there. So there's 2 of them on each bracket, and you're going to want to try to loosen those just basically to the edge of coming unthreaded. See, that one actually did come out, so I'll try to just feed that back on a little bit. And that's going to be roughly with them sticking proud of the bracket, probably about a 1/4 inch. Home Depot does carry these hex head sockets if you don't happen to have a set, this is the first thing I've ever needed them for. I think they do actually come in the Bronco toolkit, or they may come in the Bronco toolkit, but I'm trying to not work out of that just so that I don't take something out of the vehicle and then need it and not have it. I'll probably check that later. Okay, so I got a little bit of play in these now, so I'm going to see if I can actually slip this on. I may have to back these off a little more on the vehicle. I was able to actually get these slipped right on. And they're immediately, once you get them on, they're pretty secure. Like, this already feels like it'll hold weight. They did a really nice job with these brackets. Okay, so obviously now just the opposite. I'm just going to retighten these here. And you're going to want to kind of do this in stages, you know, tighten each one down a little bit, just so that you're not putting any stress on the stirrup here. They do also recommend that you have the vehicle clean. You clean these rock rails before you do it, which I would recommend, just because they do have like a rubber liner, or rubberish liner, on the inside of these clamps. And it does look like I've just about run out of weather here. I am starting to get a little bit of rain. It has definitely been a challenge this spring for some of these projects that require the truck to be clean, to be able to get the vehicle clean and have a long enough window then to actually get something done on it. The good news for me is that I do already have the other side done. Okay, so I've got those to a reasonable tightness. The instructions say 7 to 8 foot-pounds of torque if you have a torque wrench that'll allow you to do that. And I've already got, this is the M6 Allen, and I've got that already pre-mounted. I'm using an M5 again for the bolts that actually snug up the bracket, and then this was the 17 millimeter just to tighten up these bolts here that actually mount the stirrup to the bracket. Now I've got these in the low position. It is possible to remove these bolts and mount it on with these M10 in the high position. This is, you know, going to be my setup for just kind of driving around town, so I'm going to keep them in the low position, and I'll probably just remove them entirely when I go off-road. I think it'll make things a little bit easier, but remains to be seen. So then I'll just obviously yank the blue tape, and then just going to do the rear here, but you probably at this point have the hang of it. I think the biggest thing for me was just kind of seeing how it worked, and then after that point it was really easy to get it done. So again, they did a nice job wrapping these up. You know, I've ordered a lot of stuff for this truck already, and a lot of it's been, you know, a nick here or a nick there. Usually, despite some pretty good packing, it seems like it's really difficult to keep these things safe through the shipping process. Okay, so I've got the two brackets out again. Same deal. I'm going to take these off. And this kind of shows you there's that rubberish kind of line around these. Again, I don't think these are going to even mar up the rock sliders at all. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to put the center position on, which is different, right? On the front, we were using the outside. Let's see if I can avoid marring these up here. I'm kind of having a little trouble threading that. And again, I'm just going to do this finger tight so this has a little bit of ability to move. As I kind of tighten these brackets down, the brackets do shift a little bit when they're just hanging on the truck. So you're going to want to be able let those be able to move around a little bit without too much difficulty. I'm just taking a little bit of time here. I do live in fear of cross-threading something. All right, same deal. Run these up. If these bolts do happen to come out on you, what I would recommend is that you not get any of the anti-seize from the bolts on your fingers, because you will absolutely make a mess of these brackets and the nice finish on them. I had a little bit of difficulty cleaning up my my mess on the other side before I realized what I was doing. So do, I guess, pay attention to that a little bit. Just gonna run these up a little bit more on this side here, and then this guy should drop right on. And so again, on the rear, I've just got this 16.5 off the rear of the rock rail. Again, it slides right on like that. Just gonna try to maneuver it a little bit just to make sure that it's nice and straight. And then I'll go ahead and get this guy on there. And you do see it shift around a little bit as I tighten it up. This is usually fast forwarded on the videos that I watch, but I'm not going to vouch for the production values on this because this is the first video I've done. The rain is definitely picking up. So glad to be finishing up the 4x4. This process is basically the same for the two-door Broncos. All of these stirrups are the same size. They use the same brackets. You just with the two-door version, you just get two. All right, I got those on there. I'm gonna tighten this guy up here. And then I'm gonna tighten up these buttons on the top here. Looks like I have just enough clearance to get this blue tape off, which I did. All right, I hope that this goes well for you. Seems to have gone pretty well for me, and thank you.